Ford is currently standing at a terrifying crossroads that will either cement their legacy for the next century or signal the beginning of the end for the American automotive giant as we know it. Because they have just made the most radical, high-stakes pivot in their 120-year history by abandoning the dream of luxury electric SUVs to chase a ghost that has eluded every major manufacturer. A truly affordable $30,000 compact EV crossover that doesn't suck. You need to understand that the Ford Explorer EV you've been hearing about is already old news because behind closed doors in a secretive Skunkworks facility in California, a team of elite engineers has been given a mission that sounds impossible. Strip away the bloat, kill the complexity, and build a Model T for the digital age that can actually beat the flood of cheap overseas competitors threatening to wipe Detroit off the map. But here is where the anxiety kicks in for every potential buyer. Because while a $30,000 price tag sounds like a dream come true in an era where the average new car price is spiraling out of control, you have to ask yourself what Ford is being forced to sacrifice to make that number a reality. And whether you are about to buy a revolutionary masterpiece or a hollowed-out shell of a car that leaves you stranded with mediocre range. The tension inside Ford's headquarters is palpable because they know they can't afford another launch like the Mach-E where the price stayed too high for too long. So they are betting the entire company on a new, universal EV platform that is designed to be so efficient and so cheap to produce that it makes every other EV on the road today look like an overpriced relic of the past. If you've been waiting to go electric, but the massive monthly payments have kept you paralyzed with fear, this is the moment you've been waiting for. But there's a catch that nobody is talking about. This new compact crossover isn't just a smaller car. It's a completely different philosophy that uses lithium iron phosphate or LFP batteries, which are incredibly durable and can be charged to 100% every single day without degrading. Yet they are notoriously heavy and struggle in freezing temperatures, leaving northern drivers wondering if their affordable savior will turn into a brick the moment the first snowflake hits the ground. It's a psychological roller coaster, because just as you get excited about the prospect of a Ford Escape-sized EV with a massive megabox trunk and enough tech to make a Tesla blush, you realize that Ford is competing against a clock that is ticking faster than they can build factories. And the pressure to hit this deadline is so intense that any single mistake in the software or the battery chemistry could lead to a recall that would bankrupt the Blue Oval. You're sitting there wondering if this is the car that finally makes gas cars obsolete. And the answer lies in a tiny, high-efficiency motor and a simplified cooling system that Ford claims will redefine reliability. But curiosity is building around the Puma Gen-E, currently tearing up the streets of Europe. Is that the blueprint for our American savior? Or is Ford hiding something even more radical for the US market that they aren't ready to show us yet? The mystery deepens when you look at the recent cancellation of their massive 3-row electric SUV, a move that sent shockwaves through the industry and signaled a total retreat from the bigger is better mentality, proving that Ford is scared. And a scared Ford is a dangerous Ford because it means they are finally playing for keeps in the budget segment. You should be feeling a mix of adrenaline and deep suspicion right now, because while the promise of a sleek, aerodynamic crossover that fits in your garage and your budget is intoxicating, the reality of Skunkworks development means that Ford is throwing out the traditional playbook, which could result in the most innovative vehicle of the decade or a rushed experiment that leaves early adopters holding the bag. Imagine pulling up to a charger and seeing a vehicle that looks like it's from 2030, with a minimalist interior and a glass roof, all for the price of a mid-range Honda Civic. It sounds too good to be true, doesn't it? That's the hook Ford is using to keep you from jumping ship to a competitor. But the hidden fear for every Ford fan is that by the time this car actually hits the showroom floor in 2026 or 2027, the technology will have shifted again, and we'll be left with a car that was revolutionary 3 years too late. We are talking about a vehicle that needs to achieve 4 miles per kilowatt-hour just to be competitive. A feat of engineering that requires cutting-edge aerodynamics that might make the car look a bit weird. And are you ready to drive something that looks like a spaceship if it means saving $500 a month on fuel and maintenance? The excitement continues to build as leaks suggest this compact EV will feature bidirectional charging, meaning this $30,000 car could actually power your entire house during a blackout, turning your budget commuter into a massive backup generator, a feature that usually costs $80,000 in a Ford Lightning. But how can they possibly include that tech without the price skyrocketing? This is the ultimate curiosity gap. Ford is promising more for less, at a time when everything costs more and delivers less. And they are doing it while under heavy fire from investors who are tired of losing billions on the EV division. You have to realize that if this compact crossover fails, the Ford Maverick and the Ford F-150 might be the only things left holding the company together. And the thought of an America without a strong Ford is a dark reality that many aren't ready to face. But don't let the fear overshadow the sheer brilliance of what's being attempted here. Because if they pull this off, they will have cracked the code for mass adoption, creating a vehicle that appeals to the college student, the small family, and the retiree all at once, effectively killing the internal combustion engine's last stronghold. Affordability. Every time you think you've settled on your next car, Ford drops a new hint about this Skunkworks project that makes you pause and rethink your entire purchase, creating a cycle of anticipation that is driving the competition crazy, because they can't figure out how Ford plans to manufacture this in North America and still turn a profit. Is the secret in the gigacasting technology they've borrowed from their rivals? Or is it in a radical new software architecture that eliminates miles of heavy copper wiring? The suspense is literally worth billions of dollars. And as we edge closer to the official reveal, the stakes couldn't be higher for you as a consumer. Because your next 10 years of mobility depend on whether this compact EV is a masterpiece of efficiency or a compromise of cost-cutting measures. You're probably asking yourself right now if you should wait, if you should hold on to your aging gas car for just 18 more months to see if Ford delivers on the promise of the century. And that hesitation is exactly what Ford is banking on. They want you curious, they want you excited, and they want you just a little bit afraid of missing out on the first truly great affordable EV. Because the moment those pre-order books open, it's going to be a frenzy that will make the Mach-E launch look like a quiet afternoon at the library. We are witnessing the rebirth of an icon or the final desperate gasp of a giant. And the most incredible part is that the vehicle that will decide Ford's fate is a humble, compact crossover that hasn't even been named yet. But it's already the most important car in the world. So keep your eyes on those Skunkworks updates and watch the European Puma Gen-E closely, because the clues are all there, hidden in plain sight, suggesting that the era of the $60,000 standard EV is about to be demolished by a blue oval that finally remembered how to build a car for the people. This isn't just about a new model. It's about a total war for the soul of the driveway, and Ford is betting everything that you'd rather have a smart, small, affordable electric crossover than a giant gas-guzzling dinosaur. And as the tension peaks and the rumors fly, one thing is certain. The automotive world will never be the same after this car drops.